A triumvirate is a political regime dominated by three powerful individuals, each a triumvir. The arrangement can be formal or informal, and though the three are usually equal on paper, in reality this is rarely the case. The term can also be used to describe a state with three different military leaders who all claim to be the sole leader. In the context of the Soviet Union and Russia, the term troika is used for triumvirate, directly borrowed from Russian language. Eventually the word troika came into usage in other contexts. Roman triumvirates. Originally, triumviri were special commissions of 3 men appointed for specific administrative tasks apart from the regular duties of Roman magistrates. The triumviri capitula, for instance, oversaw prisons and executions, along with other functions that, as Andrew Lintott notes, show them to have been a mixture of police superintendents and justices of the peace. The capitula were first established around 290–287 BCE. They were supervised by the praetor urbanus. These triumviri, or the trasviri nocturna, may also have taken some responsibility for fire control. 3-man commissions were also appointed for purposes such as establishing colonies or distributing land. Triumviri mensaria served as public bankers, the full range of their financial functions in 216 BCE, when the commission included 2 men of consular rank, has been the subject of debate. Another former 3-man commission was the trasviri epaulones, who were in charge of organizing public feasts on holidays. This commission was created in 196 BCE by Attribution law on behalf of the people, and the number was later increased to 7. In the late Republic, 2 3-man political alliances are called triumvirates by modern scholars, though only for the second was the term triumviri used at the time to evoke constitutional precedents. The so-called First Triumvirate was an informal political alliance of Julius Caesar, Pompeius Magnus and Marcus Crassus. The arrangement had no legal status, and its purpose was to consolidate the political power of the three and their supporters against the senatorial elite. After the death of Crassus in 53 BCE, the 2 survivors fought a civil war, during which Pompey was killed and Caesar established his sole rule as perpetual dictator. The second triumvirate was recognized as a triumvirate at the time. Lex Titius formalized the rule of Octavian, Mark Antony, and Marcus Aemilius Lepidus. The legal language makes reference to the traditional trasviri. This 3-man commission for restoring the constitution of the Republic in fact was given the power to make or annul law without approval from either the Senate or the people. Their judicial decisions were not subject to appeal, and they named magistrates at will. Although the constitutional machinery of the Republic was not irrevocably dismantled by the Lex Titius, in the event it never recovered. Lepidus was sidelined early in the triumvirate, and Antony was eliminated in civil war, leaving Octavian the sole leader. In various municipalities under the Principate, the chief magistracy was a college of 3-style triumviri. Biblical triumvirates. In the Bible, triumvirates occurred at some notable events in both the Old Testament and New Testament. In the book of Exodus, Moses, his brother Aaron and, according to some views, their nephew or brother-in-law, acted this way during Battle of Rephidim against the Amalekites. Exodus chapter 17 verse 10. In the Gospels, as a leading trio among the 12 apostles at 3 particular occasions during public ministry of Jesus acted Peter, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. They were the only apostles present at the raising of Jairus' daughter, Mark chapter 5 verse 37, Transfiguration of Jesus, Matthew chapter 17 verse 1, and agony in the Garden of Gethsemane, Matthew chapter 26 verse 37. Later, at the time of the early Christian Church, this triumvirate of the leading apostles changed slightly, as it became composed of Peter, John and James, brother of Jesus, Galatians chapter 2 verse 9, Chinese triumvirates. One of the most notable triumvirates formed in the history of China was by the Han Dynasty statesmen Huo Guang, Jin Midi, and Shang Guanji. Following the death of Emperor Wu of Han and the installation of the child Emperor Zhao, despite the three excellencies, including the Chancellor, Imperial Secretary, and irregularly the Grand Commandant, representing the most senior ministerial positions of state, this triumvirate was supported by the economic technocrat and Imperial Secretary Sang Hongyang, the political lackey. The acting Chancellor Tian Qianqiu was also easily swayed by the decisions of the triumvirate. The three excellencies existed in Western Han as the Chancellor, Imperial Secretary, and Grand Commandant, but the Chancellor was viewed as senior to the Imperial Secretary while the post of Grand Commandant was vacant for most of the dynasty. After Emperor Guangwu established the Eastern Han, the Grand Commandant was made a permanent official, while the Minister over the Masses replaced the Chancellor and the Minister of Works replaced the Imperial Secretary. Unlike the three high officials in Western Han when the Chancellor was senior to all, these new three senior officials had equal censorial and advisory powers. When a young or weak-minded emperor ascended to the throne, these three excellencies could dominate the affairs of state. There were also other types of triumvirates during the Eastern Han. For example, at the onset of the reign of Emperor Ling of Han, the General-in-Chief Dao Wu, the Grand Tutor Chen Fan, and another prominent statesman Hu Guang formed a triumvirate nominally in charge of the Privy Secretariat, when in fact it was a regent triumvirate that was overseeing the affairs of state and Emperor Ling. Hindu mythology. In Hindu mythology, the gods Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva form the triumvirate Trimurti, in which the cosmic functions of creation, maintenance, and destruction are personified, respectively, by those gods. Tamil triumvirate. Tamil triumvirate refers to the triumvirate of Chola, Chera, and Pandya who dominated the politics of the ancient Tamil country. Modern triumvirates. The title was revived a few times for three-headed political magistratures in post-feudal times. Early modern and modern France, while French Huguenots had derisively bestowed the name triumvirate on the alliance formed in 1561 between Catholic Francis, Duke of Guise, and de Montmorency, and Jacques d'Albon, Seigneur de Saint-André during the French Wars of Religion. In later years the term would be used to describe other arrangements within France. At the end of the 1700s, when the French revolutionaries turned to several Roman magistrature names for their new institutions, the three-headed collective head of state was named consulate, a term in use for two-headed magistratures since antiquity. Furthermore, it included a first consul, who was not an equal, but the de facto solo head of state and government, a position Napoleon Bonaparte chose to convert openly into the First French Empire. Prior to Napoleon and during the Terror, Robespierre, Louis de Saint-Just, and Couthon, as members of the Governing Committee of Public Safety, were purported by some to have formed an unofficial triumvirate. Although officially all members of the committee shared equal power, the three men's friendship and close ideological base led their detractors to declaim them as triumvirs, which was used against him in the coup of 9 Thermidor. Modern India. In the early days of the national struggle and before Gandhi, the Indian National Congress was known to be under Lal Bhupal, i.e. Lala Lajpat Ray, Bipin Chandra Pal, and the leader of the three Bal Gangadhar Tilak, often dubbed Lokmanya Tilak. Modern Israel 2008-2009. Former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, Defense Minister Ehud Barak, and Minister of Foreign Affairs Tzipi Livni were sometimes referred to as a triumvirate. 2012. The leadership of Shas, the ultra-Orthodox Sephardi political party of Israel, was given by its spiritual leader, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, and the Council of Torah Sages, to a triumvirate formed by the convicted Aryeh Deri, who decided to return to politics after a 13-year hiatus. The former party leader Eli Yishai and Ariel Ashes, People's Republic of China Mao Zedong, Zhou Enlai, and Judah had the biggest contribution to the foundation of the People's Republic of China in 1949 and are regarded as the most influenced members of the first generation of the Chinese Communist leaders. All of them died during 1976. Benin, the 13th of April 1970 until the 26th of October 1972. After the contentious 1970 presidential elections, the country of Benin adopted a presidential council which included the three main political figures in the country: Hubert Maga, Justin Ahomad Tomitan, and Sorumigand Apafi. In addition, the formal office of president would rotate between the three of them, beginning with Hubert Maga. After one successful change of leadership, military leader Machu Kereku staged a coup and overthrew the presidential council, becoming the leader of the country until 1991. Soviet Union. See also List of troikas in the Soviet Union. The 13th of March, the 26th of June 1953. After the death of Joseph Stalin, power was shared between Lavrentiy Beria, Georgy Malenkov, and Vyacheslav Molotov. The 14th of October 1964 to 16 June 1977. After the removal of Nikita Khrushchev, the Soviet Union went through a period of collective leadership. Power was initially shared between Premier Alexei Kosygin, General Secretary Leonid Brezhnev, and Chairman of the Presidium Anastas Mikoyan. Mikoyan was replaced by Nikolai Podgorny in 1965. Modern Italy and the Roman Republic. The title of two sets of three joint chiefs of state in the year 1849. The 29th of March, the 1st of July 1849. Carlo Armellini, Giuseppe Mazzini, and Conte Aurelio Saffi. 1 to 4 July 1849. Aurelio Saffi, Alessandro Calandrelli, and Livia Mariani. Modern Greece. After the downfall of the first king of Greece, the Bavarian Otto, on the 23rd of October 1862, and Demetrios Voulgaris's unsuccessful term as president of the provisional government, a triumvirate was established consisting of the same Demetrios Voulgaris, the renowned Admiral Konstantinos Kanaris, and Venizelos Rufos, which acted as a regency until the arrival of the new monarch, the first king of the Hellenes, George I. A triumvirate was established to head the Berisso revolt of 1905 in autonomous Crete, consisting of Eleftherios Venizelos in charge of organizational matters, Konstantinos Foumas in charge of finances, and Konstantinos Manos, the former mayor of Hania, in charge of military affairs. A triumvirate was set up during the First World War in September 1916, to head the Provisional Government of National Defense, in Thessaloniki. It consisted of the popular liberal statesman Eleftherios Venizelos, General Panagiotis Stanglish, and Admiral Pavlos Koundouriatis. This triumvirate of national defense functioned as a collective head of government, although effective control was in Venizelos' hands. With the abdication of King Constantine I in June 1917 and the reunification of the country under Venizelos, the triumvirate was dissolved. The Triandria municipality in Thessaloniki is named after this triumvirate. A triumvirate was set up on 13 September 1922 to lead the military revolt against the royalist government in Athens in the aftermath of the Asia Minor disaster. It was composed of Colonels Nikolaos Plastiras and Stylianos Gonatas, and Commander Demetrios Fokas. The triumvirate assumed the government of Greece on 15 September, and would control the country until it laid down its powers on 2 January 1924. Plastiras, however, quickly became the dominant figure among the triumvirate, and was eventually labeled as the chief of the revolution. A de facto triumvirate existed during the early years of the Greek military junta of 1967 to 1974, when the junta's three main leaders were Colonel Georgios Papadopoulos, Brigadier Stylianos Patakos, and Colonel Nikolaos Makarissos. With the increasing predominance of Papadopoulos from 1970 on, this triumvirate ceased to function. The Greek People's Liberation Army, active during the Axis occupation of Greece, had a triadic leadership structure, consisting of the Carpetanios, the Stratiatikos and the Politikos. New World Venezuela, by decree of the Caracas junta and ratified in the Federal Constitution of 1811, the executive power was vested in 3 individuals. The United Provinces of South America had 2 triumvirates. The first triumvirate, the second triumvirate. The United Provinces of New Granada, now present-day Colombia, and Panama, were headed by 2 triumvirates in the period known as the Patria Boba, or Foolish Fatherland Interim Triumvirate. The 5th of October, the 23rd of November 1814, José María del Castillo y Rada, José Joaquín Camacho, José Fernández, Madrid Triumvirate of the United Provinces of New Granada. The 23rd of November 1814, October 1815, Custodio García Rovira Antonio Villavicencio replaced Rovira during his second term as he could not preside over. José Manuel Restrepo was never sworn in. José Miguel Pedro Andrade replaced Restrepo as he declined. The 28th of July 1815, Manuel Rodríguez Torreses. The Dominican Republic had 2 triumvirates, which were essentially 3-member juntas. The 29th of May, the 22nd of August 1866 to 1 Stone Triumvirate. Pedro Antonio Pimentel, Gregorio Luperon Par, Federico de Jesus Garcia. The 26th of September 1963 to 25 April 1965 Second Triumvirate. Emilio de los Santos, Manuel Enrique Tavares Espalé, Ramon Tapia Espinal. New York. The political arrangement of 3 men in a room, consisting of the governor, Speaker of the New York State Assembly, and the majority leader of the New York State Senate. Mexico, Guadalupe Victoria, Nicolas Bravo and Celestino Negrita. European Union. After the Lisbon Treaty came into force from 1 December 2009. President of the European Council, Donald Tusk. President of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker. High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy and Vice President of the European Commission, Federica Mogherini. Business slang. Eric Schmidt, CEO of Google, has referred to himself, along with founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin, as a part of a triumvirate, stating, "This triumvirate has made an informal deal to stick together for at least 20 years. Other triumvirates." The word has been used as a term of convenience, though not an official title, for other groups of 3 in a similar position. Ottoman Triumvirate is another name for the Ottoman interregnum. The 3 pashas formed a triumvirate that de facto governed the Ottoman Empire in World War I. Great Triumvirate. Great Triumvirate. Polish and Czechoslovak Council of 3. Tuscan Triumvirate. Triumvirate as per Hinduism.